In this episode, I want to help you look up and out rather than down and in. Most business owners spend a majority of their time looking down and in. Today, we're going to change your perspective. Ready to nail down a win on stage 8 of this year's Tour de Profit? Let's get into it.
Welcome to Why Business Teams Fail and How to Avoid It, a show helping small business owners build a radically engaged team that can run the business without you, so you can remove the stress from owning a business and enjoy the freedom you deserve. Now, here's your host, Rich Allen.
Today you'll learn that if you want to win the race against your toughest competition, you've got to know them well. That every business has strengths and weaknesses, and your job is to take advantage of them to your benefit. And that there are lessons to be learned from simply watching a cross-country team compete to win their big race. Here's my question for you this week. How does your business stack up compared to your toughest competition? Today I want to shift your focus and ask you to look outward to your competition. And not just to any competitor, but to your toughest competition. The timing for this topic may not be perfect. We're already well into the new year, but there's still a lot of year ahead of us. So addressing this topic now probably falls into the better late than never category. As I was preparing my thoughts on this particular topic, it was freezing cold outside, and I was stuck inside watching some sporting events that I had recorded on my YouTube TV. I came across a recording of the NCAA cross-country championships, so I sat back in my chair to catch a bit of the action. I'll bet that most of you listening to this podcast have never watched a cross-country meet, and I can understand why. Unless you're a running geek, you probably didn't even know there was such a thing. But there is, and for those of us that are way into running, it's super fun to watch. The best college athletes, both men and women, compete in what is both an individual contest and a team competition at the same time. There's lots of strategy and drama as the best runners in the country go head-to-head to see who will earn the title of NCAA cross-country champion, both individually and for the team trophy. Here's why I love it so much, and why I think it's relevant to our discussion today. The top 18 schools from across the country each bring their 7-person team to the race. If you're doing the math, that's 126 runners lined up across the starting line, which is typically in a large grassy field where they can line up side by side. There aren't just 126 average runners. These are arguably 126 of the best runners in the country, both for the women's race and for the men's race. As the gun goes off to start the race, 126 strong athletes sprint from the starting line. The start is a long, flat, open field where the runners get to jockey for position and sprint to get in a good position before the first turn, which everyone can see is about the length of 3 football fields ahead of them. I find it interesting that the very best runners are not only looking to start fast to get a good position before the first turn, but they seem to be constantly looking around to find their toughest competition. They want to be sure without a question that they find their toughest foe and match them stride for stride from the very start of the race. At the same time, teammates are working together to find their stride, settle into a pace that they can sustain, and find the runners on their competitors' teams that they know they need to beat in order to win the team trophy. To some watching the race for the first time, it appears that there's only one race, one at the very front. But that's far from reality. Since the team scoring is based on the top 5 finishers from each team, every runner's performance matters. Even if they're running near mid-pack, the team trophy is often determined by whether or not the number 4 or 5 runner on a team can outkick the number 4 or 5 runner from their toughest competition. As the runners make the first turn and get into the cross-country course itself, They encounter a series of uphills followed by just as many downhills. This isn't like running on the track or even running on the streets. This is the serious kind of running where you're in a field or running through the woods, navigating the terrain, taking sharp corners, trying to survive on the steep uphills, and trying to hold it together as you rocket down a steep hill on wet, grassy surface. The typical cross-country track is 6 kilometers long for women and 10 kilometers long for men. They normally go around the course at least twice or even 3 times, so as they come to a tough section of the course, they know right away that they will have to do it again later in the race. This alone plays mind games with the runner. If someone struggles on the steep uphill, their competition senses it and knows how to exploit their weakness. If someone hesitates on the downhill, their competitors will sprint down to the next one to open up a gap. And, as is usual for the championship cross-country meet, the race is held in early winter, oftentimes with sub-freezing temperatures. At race time for this particular race, the temperature was 26 degrees with a wind chill of 16 degrees. And aside from wearing gloves and some wearing a cap, everyone was wearing a racing singlet and shorts. Are you getting the picture? This is one tough race, but it means everything to those who are racing and to the schools they represent. As the race nears the finish line, each runner's marking their competition and looking to get the jump on them just before the finishing straight. They're exhausted, but being well trained, they know what it'll take to finish strong and win the race. As they make the final turn and they can see the finish line about a football field length ahead of them, everyone digs in, driving with their arms, knees high, trying with everything to squeeze out just a bit more speed. It's important because they know that if they beat their toughest competition, they'll bring home the trophy, which is why many of them will cross the finish line and fall down in a heap just after crossing the tape. They're exhausted, spent, nothing left, except for the knowledge that they did everything possible to beat their toughest competition. I don't know about you, but I'm tired from just recounting the race here today. So, I know what you're thinking. Okay, get to the point. What does this all have to do with me and my business? Well, here's what it makes me think about. Number one, are you prepared to go head-to-head with the competitor that beat you this last year? Have you taken time to review where you lost customers to them, or missed an opportunity to take business from them, or got beat on performance by them this past year? Number two, how well do you know your toughest competitors? Have they made changes to their website? Have you been following their social media posts? Have they introduced any new products or services? Has their pricing model changed for the next year? Did they make any key new hires recently? Is your value proposition better than theirs? Number three, are you ready to sprint hard to get off to a great start? And at the same time, how are you going to keep a close eye on your toughest competition? Have you thought about having someone be a secret shopper for you? Have you tried their product and compared it to yours? Can you maintain the same speed and pace that they're going? Number four, as you get into the year, what are your strengths and where are you the weakest? Are you able to power through the uphills, those seasons where your business is slower? If not, how can you get better? Can you really pick up the pace on the downhills? Those seasons where your leads are flowing strong and business is plentiful? Do you have the capacity to handle more business if it comes in? Number five, when you think about your team, person by person, do they match up well to your toughest competition? Do you beat them at each position? Is your sales team better? Is your operations team faster? Is your customer support team better at communicating with your customers? And are you recognizing those who outperform their counterparts? And lastly, when it comes to the final stretch, Will you have the stamina to outlast your toughest competition? Are your processes solid and sustainable? Are you sharing your results so your team can stay fired up at the end? Are you performing as a strong, confident leader with a vision that inspires high performance even when they're exhausted? You see, beating your toughest competition requires you to do some serious thinking and planning in advance of the race itself. It doesn't just happen on race day. So I want to encourage you to take this lesson from the NCAA cross-country championships and apply it to your business this week. Stage 8 is all about knowing your toughest competition and making a list of the ways you're going to leverage your advantage and minimize your weaknesses. Don't just think about this topic. Take the time to write down the answers to the questions I asked earlier. Give this some serious time and effort this week, and next week, we're going to turn your assessment into a plan of action to leverage your advantage and minimize your weaknesses. This week, focus your attention on up and out so you can know what must be done to position your business for success. Once we complete stage 9 next week, your toughest competitors will not know what hit them. As we wrap up today's podcast, let me leave you with these simple thoughts. Number 1, if you truly want to outperform your toughest competitor, you've got to spend some time assessing where you stand relative to them. Number 2, determine where you have strengths, where you have weaknesses, where there are opportunities, and where there are threats to your business. And number 3, make sure that you document your assessment, and next week, we're going to turn that into an action plan that will guarantee you the win. If you'd like some additional support as we ride this Tour de Profit race, or want to tap into our free resources, simply go to my website, tourdeprofit.com. You'll find everything you need there. Thanks for joining me today. Be sure to tune in next week when we're going to discuss Stage 9, the critical skills required for success. You won't want to miss it. Now, go make it a great week, and whatever you do, ride hard.
Thank you for listening to Why Business Teams Fail and How to Avoid It. Make sure to like, subscribe, and tell your friends so you don't ever miss an episode. Now go make it a great week, and whatever you do, ride hard.